Hello! Today we are here to discuss Autobahn, not the road in Germany,
Nope.
but board game based on the road in Germany.
Like all eras of the Autobahn.
Yes, yes. So from the earliest construction right after World War II
up to 2020.
up to the present. Well, yeah, pretty much present.
Yeah.
Before we get into all that, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down there.
Why would you do that?
Well, I just am bored.
Or
if you want to follow us and find out about all of the new games that we bring to the table, or any of the old stuff that we bring.
Yeah.
So
it's getting close to time to do another vault game, isn't it?
We just posted one.
I know, but that's
you're eager. You're chomping at the bit.
I am.
I love them too. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get another one soon. Rob, what can you tell us about this game?
So this is Autobahn. It's not readily available to market yet as far as retail because it's a Kickstarter release right now, but it's supposed to be coming out soon. So it's a 2022 release. Plays 1 to 4 people. It says it plays 90 to 150 minutes. We definitely played longer than 150 minutes. So your first game, it's going to be longer than that. Ages 14 and up, which I totally agree with. Overall rank is 2,764 with a rate of 7.3. Our designers are Fabio Lopiano, which he's made several games that we like, Kalimala, Zapotec, Merv. And then Nestor Mangone, or Mangoni. If I mispronounce that, I apologize. Artist is Javier Gonzalez Cava, published by Alley Cat Games. Again, not available retail, but there are versions available. eBay has one all the way up to $119. It's not a $119 game. But Geek Market has one for $65 in the US, but you can pre-order the version for only $40 on Miniature Market. That's the only other place you can find it.
All right, well, let's discuss what you get in the box. So for the Kickstarter version anyway, we don't know what the retail will have. But
because I bought this version off someone off Geek Market.
Yeah.
So I'm not for sure, since I wasn't part of the campaign, what part is like Kickstarter exclusive, or if this may be the retail copy of the game.
Yeah. So you get a couple of main boards for the game. One is your map of Germany, including a division between East and West. Because at the start of the game, the two are still divided. You have a board that contains basically your scoring tracks and your office, which is where anytime you build roads, you get to assign people to the office, build or upgrade. And then you have a development track where you get to enhance your skills as you go around it. And at the end, you just kind of keep looping once you reach the max. You have player boards, also have linen finish. There's no inlays, but they have basically different areas on there that you can choose to develop and enhance by unlocking keys that have ignition locks on them for whatever reason. It looks like you're starting up your board anytime you put a key in, but I'm not sure exactly why they've got them set that way. I guess it could be locks.
Well, it's the whole automotive thing too, you know.
Yeah, it could be. So there's those. The nicest things are the wooden bits are screen printed, so you have your
delivery trucks
and your gas stations,
gas pumps.
But as far as and then the crates, but as far as your meeples, they're not screen printed. They just have the cutout in the shape of looks like the guy from Monopoly,
big top hat.
Yeah. So
and you got a little marker that's wooden bit.
Yeah, that is screen printed.
Development. So that's screen printed as well.
Yeah.
A lot of cardboard too. Cardboard's not that great. You got little cardboard tokens of the roads, and you flip them over. It's an upgraded version. And then just little markers, teeny tiny little chips.
Yeah, little chips. They were very smart. That and the keys were the biggest disappointment.
I agree. I mean, it's just they're little and they're very plain. So and then you got point markers as well. That's cardboard.
Well, you also have the action chits, which are a little bigger than the trucks, but
those are like 3 action markers.
The keys really stand out because everything else on your player board is wood.
Right.
And then you put these keys on there that are cardboard. So it's kind of, well, I mean, you do have these tokens, but these...
Yeah, but those are okay.
Those are okay.
So I think it's a mixed bag.
It's definitely a mixed bag.
It would be really nice if they had better meeple tokens. It'd be really great if the little delivery tokens and the keys were a bit... I mean, even a better quality cardboard, whether it's bigger or nicer. But yeah, definitely a wooden version would be better.
And you have cards. The cards do not have a linen finish.
They do not.
They're
but
slick. But the thickness is pretty good.
So,
so yeah, I'm torn on this one. I'm probably I'll give it a 7 reluctantly.
I'm the same way.
I mean, it's
some of it's nice, some of it isn't.
The stuff that's nice, I think, brings it up to a 7, or it would probably go higher if it wasn't for all of the things that just are plain and basic and cardboard that are, that look flimsy and cheap.
But I could totally see someone pimping this out. Like like 3D printing the road tokens would be really cool, where one side would be a single lane, or you could flip it over, have a different version that's the double lane. That would be really neat. Definitely upgraded the key tokens or the icon tokens for deliveries. That would be really cool.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to theme. So thematically, you're building the Autobahn. You've got you've got the basic main road of it at the beginning of the game already built, and you're building all the branches off of there. They did a really good job of incorporating the feel of building those roads into this gameplay. And the unlocks and the upgrades of it make sense. They all play into the same thing. I think they did a great job of capturing the feel of this.
Yeah, thematically, for a Euro game especially. Yeah, it's not as dry or as unimaginative as most usually are. You can feel like they did such a good job with the layout of Germany as well that it just looks like you're being a part of that, and so thematically, it's a nice fit. And the mechanics fit the theme.
Yes, so. And there's a lot of unique mechanics in the sense. I mean, they're repetitive with other games, but the way they've combined them, and especially with the scoring, the fact that there's really, only one mechanism for scoring, and it's all in-game bonuses. That's kind of unique.
Very unique.
So
what would you give it for theme?
I'm probably giving it an 8. I mean, I think the board is attractive. I like the little the hints of buildings and such that they put into that doesn't need to be there, but it adds a little flavor.
And another point, this is straight up a Euro game, but it's one of the most colorful Euros I've seen in a long time. Generally, it's that drab brown or drab greenish color for your Euros, but this is very colorful, so I really like that. It really stands out. It pops. So I think I might. You said an 8?
Yeah,
I think I'm an 8 as well. It's really nice.
All right, so moving on to the rule book. This is a beast to learn. No way about it.
There's just so many moving parts.
28 pages in length. The good news is the rule book it's for the 2-player or 5 or more players is only to page 15 for the gameplay.
Right.
There's a nice cover that matches the cover of the box. You do have pictures of all the icons, or not all the icons, but all the components in the front. I got icon on the brain. You'll find out why here momentarily. The setup is pretty clear and easy to follow. So that's not a problem. There is a lot of setup though, so you're going to be getting a lot of tokens out, arranging them, a lot of cards, everything.
It's at least a 30-minute setup.
Yeah, it takes a while. The gameplay, it's ordered and sequenced pretty well. The real problem is, one, there's absolutely no cheat sheet, except for the back of the rule book has a player aid that tells you the steps of the turn.
But it would be really helpful if there was more of them, but it listed what the icons mean.
Yeah, because the iconography is killer in this. And it's very subtle changes in iconography too. It's like the same picture with just a plus
or an arrow or
and you can kind of deduce it, but then when they start combining all the icons, and then there's a lot of little rules, that you have to remember with every action you take. It's not just the action, but if you have this scenario, this action does this, and you can do bonus actions if you do this, and just trying to remember all of that. Well, you're going to end up flipping through this rule book a lot until you get it down. And it's going to take several gameplays to get it memorized in your head. And then if you set it down for a while, you're going to forget it.
So this is definitely a heavyweight Euro game.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of meat. I don't think it's like 18xx heavy. It's a medium to heavy, and so I'd call it.
I just think it's heavy. I don't think it's extremely heavy like an 18xx, but I don't think there's any medium to it.
All right. I'm on the medium to heavy side. You're more the heavy side on this one. As far as the rule book, there's a good solo. I mean, if you want to like solo games, there's a meaty solo game just from looking at the number of pages devoted to it. It's like 6 or 8 pages of just specifically for the solo game. There's some.
I'm going to try that out at some point.
There's some mini expansions that were included for backers, it says, for the Kickstarter campaign.
But for some reason I don't have those, so that's why I'm wondering if I bought someone who just Kickstarted at the retail level, not the...
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's things that look nicer than what you would expect in a basic retail, but
those could just have been, stretch goals that they met.
Yeah. So yeah, as far as the rulebook goes, because of the fact that it does have a lot of having to go back to the rulebook for many rules. The iconography being as confusing as it is, because there's just a ton of different icons and no cheat sheet whatsoever. I'm going to give it a 6.5. I'll be nice and give it a 6.5 because I think it is laid out well.
Yeah,
it's just really a lot to remember.
But I don't know if I want to count that against the game because I set it up and I laid out for one round. I didn't have time to play through a full game, but the person I played with at our local shop, we got it set up pretty easily, and we played through the first era and again had the same issues with the rulebook just because of the amount and the complexity of it. But overall, once we figured it out, it wasn't that bad.
No, I mean,
and so I just think that personally, more examples would have been great.
Absolutely,
and so
there wasn't even an example on the scoring.
Which is the main part of the game is scoring.
Yeah,
and so there's no examples of that. So, but I think I'm going to give it a 7. I can't count it too harshly. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm a 7.
All right, so. We're not going to go through all the details of the rules in this in the gameplay.
It would take way too long.
Yeah, but basically, you have a starter deck. This does have deck building element to it. It's the starter deck has 7 cards, but you remove one of them because it's a card that's on a road color that will not come into play until East Germany comes into play. The game is played over 3 rounds, but those rounds could take a while because you don't end a round by just burning through your cards. Because you can recall your hand and play it again, very similar to Concordia.
Right.
But the gameplay ends, or for the round ends, that is, whenever the number of roads that are assigned for that round, in the first round it's 10, it goes up to 14 at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Whenever you burn through that number of roads, whoever plays that last road triggers the end of the round. And after their turn's over, you immediately will end the round. You're going to take your turn. Most times you're going to be playing a card. There are a few other things you can do, but predominantly you're going to be playing a card. And you've got different actions at the top of your board that you can assign the card to. So the card will determine the color of the road that you're playing on. The top will determine the type of action you do on that type. So the first action is you can acquire a key. So there are keys along the side of your board that have color. They're color coded to all the colors except for black. And you can choose to claim one of those keys, but you only can do 1 per color because there's 1 assigned for each color.
And the top of the board tells you how many times you can do it. And so it says max 1 time.
Yeah. So when we say 1 time, that means while the cards are in play, until you recall your hand, you can only do it once. If there's already a card there, you can't do it. So once you get your cards back in hand, you could do it again. So if I played this purple on there, I could take the purple key, and then you have a central board, or in the center of your board, you've got 3 different tracks that you can allocate those keys to. So the 3 tracks correspond at the end of the game with the scoring tracks, where whichever column you decide you're going to develop, you've got a corresponding column on the score track that you can move your people up as you accumulate them in what they call the lobby.
Yeah. So both column and row is very important.
Yes.
So when you unlock the bottom left-hand red column, that's just the first office.
Yes.
To do the second office, you have to unlock the one above it. And so they correspond exactly.
And each one gives you a perk that builds upon the one below it. So,
well, which is kind of neat because the first one is like ongoing stuff, and then the next one is perks that you get when you do things, and then the last one is just instant, really nice bonuses.
Yes, and basically there's 4 boxes on each track, 1 at the bottom, 1 in the middle, and 2 at the top.
Right.
So in order to go all the way up on the scoring track at the end of the game, you have to have unlocked both of those.
Right.
So
and Randy pointed out, he didn't think about it, but you don't have enough keys to unlock everything.
Yeah,
I mean, you can unlock most of it,
yeah,
but you cannot unlock everything.
I came up too short. You know, I used all my keys, and I still had 2 boxes.
Yeah, because the only other color key we didn't talk about were the black keys. It doesn't signify from the card. It's spaces on a couple of different areas on your board. It's how you unlock them.
Yes. And we also didn't mention you have an auxiliary board that is associated with each player. There's a random selection of these boards that have flags of countries that are neighboring Germany that you can deliver shipments to.
And so there's 2 different sections. If you deliver the item it's looking for, you get this really nice perk.
Mm-hmm.
But if you deliver anything other than that, you get a money bonus.
Yeah. But also one of the scoring tracks is based upon having multiple of those covered. So that's what the keys do. So they're used for developing your board. The second one is road building. So the road building allows you to play roads to the board. So in this case, if I built a orange, I would place it above the orange, and I would get to build a road on the orange track.
That's adjacent to either the black road or other
roads. Yes, you cannot just build an orange anywhere. It's got to be touching a road that's already built. So you're going to be playing a road onto the board. When you do that, you have a bunch of your little icon men that you can place onto the associated office of that color. So there's orange here. So if I build an orange road, I would place on the orange track, and I would bump whoever is in the very furthest left seat. So for 2 players, I would bump, and there would be only 2 people allowed there. The person gets bumped goes up to the lobby. Now, at the end of the era, whenever we finish, all of us have built the last road, we're going to get money based upon the distribution of how many people you have in each of the seats. So these seats are valuable for getting money.
And that's really the main way you get money in the game. I mean, we get it. There's some couple other abilities you can get money through the game, but it's not significant compared to what you get here.
Right. So there's that, and then the person that gets bumped, this is how you get to scoring. So in order to get up to the scoring track, you basically have to get yourself bumped up there.
And then get promoted.
Yeah. Then once you get there, it's just like you have a job, so you're getting promoted. So that's road building. So upgrading roads, you play onto a card onto the upgrades, and you basically take one of the starter roads, which is 1 lane, and you get to flip it over, and it's a red one, so I would flip a red one, which of course there's none. Oh, there's one. So I flip the red one over, and I have to pay. There's a fee for building and for upgrading. So in addition to playing the card, you have to pay the fee, and that fee starts out in the first round. You have different prices, but it goes up each round.
Right.
So there's all the sections of road are either 1 length or 2 length, and your pricing is based upon whether it's a single length road, which is more pricey, but it's still cheaper than
because it's just one
individual the summation of the 2 for the 2 length ones.
So for example, Era 1 length is 6. A 2 length road is 4 each, but to build both you have to spend 8.
Right. But you only get to build 1 link
at a time. Per card play.
Unless it has bonus actions, which we'll go to in a moment. So once I upgrade, I also get to play one of my guys to the color. So I would bump whoever's in red up to the lobby. I would get somebody else down there on the income track in the office, basically. And then the next action is getting to load a truck. So loading a truck,
you get 1 at the beginning of the game.
You get 1 truck, and there's different facilities that are in cities that are on the black road going up and down the center that you start with. So if I played a green onto the load a truck, I take my truck and build it in a city that has green on it. So like Hanover right here has where I can build
it's a car park. So you get auto parts.
So I get to take one of the crates that has auto parts, which would be the gray ones.
Yeah.
And I add it to the back of my truck. And then if you have a truck on the board and you play a card that matches the color of the city it's on or the roads that you happen to be sitting on at the time, you get to move your truck. Now, during the first era, you get to move 2 spaces. In subsequent eras, you get to move 3. And you get to
do more if you start on a double or that green section of road. You get plus
double wide roads, you get extra movement when you start there. But since I'm starting here on Hanover, I only get to move 2. So I would move 2 spaces. And my goal is to reach a destination, one of the areas that are outside of the country that I have not delivered to.
So again, it's on your board. It tells you what city is looking for what item.
Yeah, and if I match the item, I get the perk. If I don't match the item, I get the money, as Rob mentioned earlier. So your goal is to try to get many of the matches that you can, because
there's some really good stuff there. You got like extra movements on your development board. You got the 2 of the black keys
are on there.
So that's how you get extra keys. Lots of money potentially. So there's a lot of really good perks for delivering what the cities are looking for. Yeah, and upgrading cards too.
Yep. So, and the other thing is, this is one of the scoring tracks on the board. So having a bunch of tokens on this board is very powerful at the end of the game if you pursue that strategy. Now, the next action is gas stations. So if you play a card on the gas stations, then you get, if there is a gas station icon pictured on the board, you can place one of your gas stations in that spot on the road color that matches the color of the card you play.
And it's always on a section that has 2 rows.
Yes. So, each one of the things you uncover has a perk underneath. You don't get that perk by default, but anytime a truck passes by your gas station, it has to stop. I mean, it passes. It doesn't stop there. It drives by.
But thematically, it's getting gas.
Yeah, it's stopping. It's stopping to get gas.
Yeah. So, and when it stops to get gas, it depends on whose gas station it is, or it depends on the perk that you get.
When the gas stations become uncovered, you don't get the perk below it by default. There are ways to get that.
Yes.
But the
main thing that you get.
Yeah, the perk becomes available to you as trucks pass by the gas station. Because in theory, they're supposed to stop. They don't really stop. They move on. So apparently, they're just pulling your gas.
Yeah. Maybe there's a truck that pulls along with them. So
you're fueling them in the road while they're driving. That seems safe. So you get the perk. If you drive by your own gas station, you get to choose any perk you want, and you get the best perk that you've uncovered. Yes. If someone else drives by your gas station, there's a weaker perk on the coin spots that you will get as a bonus. You don't get to choose all of them.
It's just whichever one's the most valuable that you've uncovered, but it's always the weaker amount.
There you go. So, you getting gas stations, though, also has the benefit of the third scoring track is having a multiplier times however many gas stations you have. So you can pursue lots of different strategies in this to try to get points. So that's all the actions you can take that require cards. Now, one action you can take that doesn't require cards, on each era there is one spot where you can skip your turn and you can just place one of your people on the space, and you'll get that money as a bonus. It's basically if you're running low on cash.
But you do lose that unit, but I don't think that's a big deal.
Yeah. So you're limited to, you start the game with 25. There's no additional ones. Right. So you burn through those 25. You're going to have to take them back off the board from your scoring area and take them back.
But there's some nice.
But there are perks for doing it. So it's kind of a
good thing.
A good trade-off, bad trade-off type thing. So the other thing you can do is you can take your cards back to your hand.
Right.
So similar to Concordia, if I have played all the cards that I want to play, I can choose to regroup my hand. If I have not played through all of my cards, I get a coin for each one I take back up. If I do play through my entire deck of cards or hand of cards,
if I play my last card on my hand,
then at the end of my turn, by default, I pick up all my cards. I don't get a coin bonus, but I don't have to take a turn to do it.
So the benefit is you don't lose your turn, but you don't get the money.
Right. So that's the basic actions of the game.
There's a whole lot more complexity as far as the depth and like what do I choose. The timing of your choices is very important because some of the things I do opens up opportunities for him to be able to take advantage of. And we did that a little bit to each other, but he really played off gas stations really well off of some of the actions that I did.
Yeah. Well, at first you were burning all the gas stations and stopping me because I was raising my scoring up on the gas stations before I probably telegraphed what I was going after before I should have because you were buying up all the gas stations before I could.
But he quickly overtook it.
But yeah, I ended up burning through all my gas stations early in the game.
Yeah.
So the other thing is you have this development track. So some of the actions you take especially when you unlock your first tier, will give you bonuses of development as you move up. And there's also icons on the board that let you move up this development track.
And thematically, it's developing your business. So it's kind of neat because some of the icons help increase the number of actions that you get. Some allow you to swap your cards out, which are more effective. And ones allow you to upgrade or promote your employees.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting thematically that you're developing your business.
Right. So you want to cycle on that as much as you can because once you get to the end of it, every fourth round movement on that is going to let you promote an employee.
Promote or get money.
Yeah, so that's like every other one is going to give you money and then give you a promotion. So, it's
really beneficial.
It's really beneficial. And the fourth scoring track, and this one is the one that you don't have to unlock.
And he got a ton of points off of it.
Yeah, is for every 20 money, you get victory points. If you can get all the way top, you get 3, and then you can backfill and do the 2 and the 1. You can only have one person per bucket, but each one of those can be populated, so you could get 6 points off of each of the scoring tracks for whichever thing you're pursuing. So having a lot of cash that you earn can be very beneficial. And the other thing is at the end of each era, when we actually play that last road, we score however much money from each road has been unlocked.
All linked. All the links that are included in that particular
So based upon the distribution of who's got basically ownership within these different offices,
it's a little bit of area control.
You're going to divide up that cash between you. So if you got all the, like in this case,
got both spots.
Orange is completely me, I will get all the money from Orange.
You got like $40 off of that.
Yeah, I think it helped because I had the black one was already built from the very beginning. In the first round, I had complete ownership of that. That got me off to a good start. And then, if you've only got half, then between you're going to split the money in half. So you can earn a lot of cash. And if you can find ways to not spend that cash, which is I tried to minimize my spending, but still maximize my movement on this development track. I think you did most of the road building.
Yeah, I think I did most of the road building. And another interesting part is that there's actually a cardboard overlay that allows you to change up your scoring a little bit. So you can also score off of, I don't remember, but there's 2 other methods of scoring that alternate board gives you. So that's good as far as replay value.
Yeah. And at the end of the game, all that matters is what's in that scoring chart. So you get 2 points for everybody who's still in the lobby that hasn't got promoted. And then you get points based upon your promotion levels times those multiplies, whether it be how many people you have in the offices versus how many of these deliveries you've made versus how many gas stations you've played or how much money you've accumulated.
Right.
So that's really the crux of the game. Beyond that, it's a ton of iconography.
Yeah, and this is the most unique aspect. Randy alluded to that earlier, but this is, I think, the most unique is that you do all this work and you get nothing unless you build up your office and you promote people in the right spots. So it takes a lot of planning.
Yes. And I thought that was a very clever design.
I do too.
Yeah, there's a lot of labor involved in trying to work out how to do your actions.
Probably just like building the Autobahn.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of labor.
Probably a lot of labor, yes. The thing is I enjoyed very much planning for that.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy having to go look up every icon and try to figure out what it did. That brought it down. And that's what extended this game tremendously, was just trying to go back and say, okay, well, this has got the picture of the little dude with the hat with an arrow. This one's got the picture with a plus. What is the difference? Oh, this one's got that icon, plus it's got 2 other icons over here. What does that mean? I mean, it was just
There's definitely a lot of opportunity for analysis paralysis.
yes.
So, and for me, it's just like, it's that timing aspect. If I play this now, that gets Randy to do this, but then hopefully if he does that, then I can do this. And so, and you short circuit. And
yeah. And then like the upgrades with the cards, you get these cards and it's like, okay, this is awesome. You got these upgrades out here.
Yeah, but we didn't initially.
But the rulebook doesn't clearly state how you get those cards.
So we figured it out, but it wasn't super clear.
We spent a lot of time just trying to figure out. Obviously, it's a central part of the game because they got, not only do they have a stand, like the first tier of upgrades,
but there's an advanced
tier
when you unlock East Germany.
Era 3, which is when East Germany unlocks, that you get those advanced cards. You replace this, and it's like you've got to have more opportunities of getting cards than just the one token that lets you get it,
right?
And it turns out there's several icons, some of which are on the top of your board that you can use to unlock and get cards, and there's some that let you swap cards,
right?
But it was in the iconography where it really mentioned that instead of in the rule book where it should have told you that the
or if it's there important. We didn't see it because it's buried.
Yeah, so. But this is so important to the gameplay,
very huge.
And it seems like it should be. When we read through it, was like it seems like this should be mentioned somewhere because it's so important. But it was just in the iconography. So it was very frustrating read and a lot of referencing back. It slowed the game down, and because of that, I've got to penalize it a bit on my scoring.
Got it.
But I loved the score track, the way that worked. I thought that was very unique. I love the fact that it's it's not something. It has elements of, like I said, it's kind of almost Carcordia.
It's got elements of brass too.
Yeah,
because the brass elements you're sharing your transportation network.
Yeah,
and so. And utilizing that off of each other. So,
and upgrading.
So it's really, it borrows heavily from both of those, but it does it in a unique way. And I really, I like that a lot.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to give this a 7.5. I probably would have given it an 8 if it weren't for the fiddliness of all the iconography, because it was painful, but it was fun.
I agree, but I'm going to give it a slightly higher score because I liked it so much. I'm going to give it an 8, but I would have been higher if it was a little bit easier to understand as far as the iconography. Just even maybe having a cheat sheet might have made all the difference in the world.
I mean, this is sorely lacking a cheat sheet.
So, but I liked it so much that I'm penalizing it, but it's an 8.
Okay.
So instead of like an 8.5 or 9.
All right, well, that's our thoughts on Autobahn. If you've got a chance to try it, what were your thoughts? Because we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and when we liked it, what did you think? Did you like it, or did you think it was a bunch of poo?
That would be a roadkill, I think.
On the Autobahn.
Yeah. All right, so until next time, happy driving and happy gaming.
All right,
bye.